Yo, what's good? It's your boy Big Steve, and this is Go Blue Uncut, where we smoke and talk Michigan football. So let's get into it. So the first college football playoff rankings dropped tonight. Michigan came in at number 3. You know, kind of surprising. Some people had them between them and Georgia as being the number 1 team in the nation, but at the end of the day, neither one of the motherfuckers finished number 1 team in the nation. Unfortunately, it went to the Fuckeyes, but let's be real, they do got 2 top 10, top 15 wins over Notre Dame and Penn State. So it is what it is. But just gonna go over the top 25, who's some surprises, and ain't too much to talk about other than if Michigan went out, they're in. That's the end of the day. It's kind of seemed like it's shaping up to be some sort of last year, like last year where you had 2 Big Ten teams get in the playoff. But being that the Pac-12 is kind of better this year, I don't think the committee is going to allow that to happen. But who knows? If the Pac-12 champion got 2 losses, and Ohio sitting there with 1 loss, who knows? But just to get in the top 25 right quick, coming in at 25, Air Force 8-0, Tulane 7-1. Them boys been balling for a minute now down in Louisiana. Kansas State 6-2. They've been steady for a while now. Oklahoma State, which is my surprise team to probably win the Big 12. After the loss to South Alabama, I live down in Oklahoma, so they were really coming at Gundy's head. But he's been a consistent coach. To me, he's definitely been a top 10 coach for the last 15 so years, and that's consistency as a motherfucker, being in a small town like Stillwater. So let me get back to it. But Oklahoma State, yeah, man, that's gonna be my surprise to win the Big 12. Uh, Kansas, another Big 12 team coming in at number 21. So you got 3 teams in the top from 25 to 20. Then at 20, you got USC. Still can probably win the Big 12, but barely beat, I believe it was Washington State last game, and they still got Oregon, and I believe they got probably Washington. I'm not sure they play Washington unless it's the Big 12 championship game, but they still got Oregon. So now the question is, with a 2-loss USC team with wins over Oregon and the Big 12 championship, get in over a 1-loss Ohio team. So then after USC, you got UCLA at number 19, 6-2. I think Skip Kelly's been doing a good job with those boys. At 18, you got Utah. Not a surprise. They've been consistent for a while now. I definitely think Gundy and Coach Willington, I believe his name is, at Utah definitely deserves some Coach of the Years nominees. Tennessee 6-2. Once again, still got a chance to, win the SEC and possibly put some pressure on the committee to make a decision. It seems like it's about 3 or 4 teams can challenge a 1-loss Ohio team, and Ohio probably lose 2 games before the season ends. So we'll have to see. But right now, how it's shaping out is kind of the scenarios of last year where you have a undefeated Michigan team and a 1-loss Ohio team. So Tennessee at 17, and then you got Oregon State at 16. which kind of a surprise, but they have the transfer from Clemson. He's been definitely balling over there, and Clemson, the way Clemson look right now, it seems like dude definitely made the right choice. Uh, at number 15, you have Notre Dame coming in at 7-2, and that's kind of the debate of is that game over Notre Dame, that win over Notre Dame, enough to give Ohio that number one ranking over Georgia? But we're gonna get to that. So Notre Dame cracks the top 15 at 7-2. And then you have LSU 6-2, number 14. Another SEC team definitely can challenge some one-loss teams at the end of the season. Um, Still play the Bama game, I believe they still have. Then you have Bama, then you have the SEC championship. So that's definitely gonna be crazy. Um, Louisville, number 13, 7-1. Louisville also has a win against Notre Dame, but then I believe they lost to Pitt. So they still in contention in the ACC. And then one of my biggest surprises so far, but I kind of like this team, Missouri, number 12. I think that quarterback's nice. They got an all-around good team, and I think they can be a surprise in the SEC. And so then you have Penn State, 7-1, another team that Ohio beat. So you have two top 15 wins. It is what it is. And then in the top 10, you have coming in at number 10, Ole Miss. Got the loss against Bama, but I definitely feel Ole Miss is due for that breakout season and get to the SEC championship game. So, Lane Kiffin, he's been an asshole most of his career, but I always liked the dude. So you have Ole Miss at number 10. Number 9, this where things really started to get crazy in the top 10. Number 9, you have Oklahoma. Oklahoma comes in 7-1 with the one loss being to Kansas on the road last week. I don't think Oklahoma is as good as they think they are this year, but they do got the win over Texas. So, so Oklahoma coming in 7-1, got the win over Texas, but then a close game at CFU, and then you have the loss to Kansas. So put them at number 9, but they still in it. Alabama. Once again, Alabama has a chance to make the college football playoffs. I definitely think that Nick Saban benching that quarterback. He came back, playing better, got the win against Ole Miss, and once again, Bama got a chance of making the college football playoffs. So nothing new there. I definitely think that spot right there between Oklahoma and Bama is going to be an interesting thing to watch, being that all Oklahoma has left is the Big 12 championship game. They didn't play Texas. That's the only game they really had that they can make a statement win at. Being that Oklahoma State has gotten better, in the top 25 now. So after the South Alabama game, it was looking like, well, Oklahoma got to hope Texas do good to give them a better strength of schedule. But Gundy got those boys in Oklahoma State looking good right now. So that can be a top 25 win if Oklahoma can pull it off right now. So you got, but you got Bama at 8. Then you have Texas at 7. And I live in Oklahoma, and trust me, there's a lot of pissed off motherfuckers down here right now. And I'm happy they pissed off. Fuck them. They fan base are assholes. But at the end of the day, they do got the win against Texas. So me personally, I believe if you got the head-to-head over them, pause, and both of y'all has one loss, it should go to the team who got the head-to-head. So I feel Oklahoma and Texas definitely should swap. Pause. But Texas number 7. And then you have Oregon at number 6. To me, if I had to pick a team in the top 10 I would not want to face in the college playoffs, it would be Oregon. You know, they fast on offense, fast on defense. Bo Nix is going to do Bo Nix shit. They running back as fast as in space. So that's Oregon, one team I wouldn't want to go against if anybody in the top 10. So Oregon's at number 6. And then you have Washington. Washington's coming at number 5. Which is kind of crazy to me that Washington has a win over a top 10 Oregon team. And I believe they beat Utah as well. And they number 5. So, you know, there's a lot to say with that. But once again, you win, you win. So Washington's at number 5. And then, you know, top 4, Florida State has the win over LSU at the beginning of the season. Struggled against North Carolina State, I believe it was, in another game, but you get the dub, that's all that matters. So Florida State comes in at number 4. And then, like I stated earlier, Michigan comes in at number 3. No surprise, you know, they really haven't had the key market game where, you know, they get ready to play Penn State next week, but they really haven't had that game. So I didn't really have a problem if they to put, you know, Florida State number 2, you know, and Georgia number 1, but unfortunately they put Georgia number 2. And I always believe if you're the national champs and you still fucking undefeated, you should still be number 1. But Michigan is 3, Georgia's 2, and what that leave us that the fuck eyes are number 1. And really, it don't mean shit, to be honest. You know, if you're a top 5 team right now, it's just win and you in. The scenarios I'm looking out for right now is the Oregon USC game. I think Georgia still got some tough games left in the SEC championship. And it's going to be interesting to see me personally, like I say, is not just because I'm living in Oklahoma, but if you have a 2-loss Oklahoma State team win the Big 12, then what do you do? So it's going to be interesting to watch. But 2 of those teams, Michigan and Ohio, basically in the same spot to where Ohio's going to have 1 loss at the end of the season. Michigan's undefeated. And I believe Washington's going to be in it. That's going to be interesting, being that, you know, people don't forget, you know, Washington's quarterback, Penix, was at Indiana a couple years ago. And I believe they beat us when they had him. So people don't forget. So that'll be a nice, you know, they beat Oregon. And I said earlier, I won't want to face Oregon. But I still believe Oregon's the more dangerous team, even though they lost to Washington. So Ohio's number 1. So the top 4, you have it. Ohio number 1, Georgia's number 2, Michigan number 3, Florida State number 4. I think Ohio's going to lose before they get to Michigan. So that's an upset I see happening. And Florida State, I believe they play Florida this week or at the end of the season, rivalry game. And then you still have the ACC championship, but so it's gonna be interesting. You know, Louisville's looking good right now, so it's still a couple key matchups that's gonna be interesting to watch. You know, Texas is, you know, if Oklahoma State beat OU, then you have a situation of what happens if Texas went out as a one-loss team, but not in the Big 12, but don't win the Big 12 championship game. So it's a lot of things to look at right now. But once again, I'm glad we got something to talk about other than hearing about the shit that we really don't want to talk about. But college football playoff rankings, there you have it from 1 through 25. Top four, once again, is Ohio, Georgia, Michigan, and Florida State. We all know next week is going to change, and the week after that is going to fucking change, and the week after that is going to fucking change. But at the end of the year, if I had to pick which out of these top four teams is still going to be in it, you know, in the last rankings, I would have to go Michigan and Florida State. The Brock Bowers injury at Georgia, you know, it's interesting to see how that's going to play out. I think Ohio's going to lose before they even play Michigan. And I think Florida State, I think Travis is going to lead that team to the college football playoffs. And once again, motherfuckers keep receipts. And I still feel like, you know, the Jake Buck, you know, injury game against Florida State in the Orange Bowl. So whether it's pennants with Washington or Florida State, shit, or Georgia or Ohio, there's a lot of these games that we still remember. So yeah, so I think Florida State and Michigan gonna be the only two teams in the first rankings that's gonna end the season top four in the last rankings. You know, this is the last year of the 4-team playoff. Next year it goes to 12 teams. The new conference alignment. So it'll be cool to see who's gonna win the last chip. And I hope it's Michigan. You know, so that'll be dope. With all the bullshit going on, shit, you give us a national championship, I don't give a fuck what happened next year, to be honest. So one game at a time. We got Purdue. You know, I'll make a video previewing that game here about a day or so. But other than that, go blue.